Good morning. Namaskar. Let us begin with a prayer. This is on page 104 of Universal Prayers, the book Universal Prayers. The first one on that page, 104. This is from the Bhagavad Mahapuranam. Om Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutastunvanti Divya Vedai Sanghapada Karmopanishadair Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam Navidusura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Our loving salutations to that effulgent being whom Brahma and other gods praise with the divine hymns, whom the singers of the Sama glorify by the Vedas and their auxiliaries, repeating the words in a particular order along with the Upanishads, whom the yogins realize through deep meditation with their minds wholly absorbed in him, and whose extent neither the gods nor demons can know. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace. Peace be within us all. Peace and harmony be amongst all beings. And peace be everywhere in nature. Light on ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಆ ಕಡೆ, that light. The third switch. We just try to understand the last teaching of Sri Krishna, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, in the 66th verse of chapter 18. This is the concluding instruction, final instruction, where the Lord says to Arjuna, giving up all other considerations, just surrender completely to me alone. This is a call for total surrender. As we studied earlier, surrender to the will of God does not mean inaction. We have to do our duties. Niyata karma. Niyata karma means required duties, obligatory duties. Everyone has, except a very small number of people. We will see who they are. And then after having done our duties, then we can say, I've done my best. Now it is up to you, O Lord. But for a very small number of people, there are no duties at all. They're totally free from any obligation. They have to do nothing. Those are very few, because most people, we have to at least take care of our bodies. If we don't have to go to work and take care of family, or we don't have any such responsibility, at least I have to take care of my body. I have to eat when I am hungry, or sleep when I am tired. Those things I have to do. Sharira yatra pichare, Sharira yatra pichate na prasiddheda karmana. Third chapter we study. But for a really very small number of people, those duties also will drop away, because they don't worry about the body. They have risen above body consciousness and totally absorbed in self-knowledge or in pure devotion. Very few in number. So rest of us have to do our duties. When such a stage will come, when can we stop or when do the rituals and other requirements, niyata karma, will drop away? Sri Ramakrishna explains it. This is on the first page of the Gospel, page 77 of the English Gospel. Those were the first words M heard when he first went to Sri Ramakrishna's room with his relative Siddhu. Sri Ramakrishna was saying, when upon hearing the name of God once, if a devotee begins to shed tears of joy and devotion, if his or her hair stands on end, and the voice chokes, then for such a person there are no rituals, no required duties. That person can say, the Lord will take care of me. They don't even have to think anything like that because they're absorbed in God consciousness all the time. Otherwise, until that stage is reached, we have to perform our duties, whatever is required, we have to do. So that is the stage. In the Gita, they say, when does this stage come when there are no duties? Are explained in one verse. In his third chapter, verse sloka number 17. There, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, for a person who is always absorbed in the self-knowledge, Brahmagyani, Atmagyani, he sees the self within himself, he is not aware of the body, world, or anything. Everything is unreal. Only Atman is real. He is experiencing it. He or she is experiencing it. For such a person, there is nothing to be done. 370. There, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Yastu Atmaritere Vasyat Atmatriptasya Manamaha Atmanye Vacha Santushtaha Tasya Karyam Na Vidyate. Atmarati, Rati means bliss, highest kind of happiness, not Vishyasaka, worldly sensory happiness. Atmarati, person who is enjoying the infinite bliss of Brahman, the self. For such a person, what is there to be done? Nothing more that such a person does can add any more happiness. He is already infinitely happy. And if that person does not do anything, there is nothing that can be lost. Cannot take away from infinity. His infinite happiness cannot reduce it by not doing something. You can't increase it by doing something. Such a state will come for some people at the highest level. Atma triptascha manavaha, content with the self, not depending upon outside external objects, property, possession, other people, etc., not depending on those for happiness. Beyond all these things, far beyond all these things. Atmanyeva cha santushtaha, totally content. For such a person in the self itself. Tasya karyam na vidyate. Same thing happens to a devotee. This for the jnani who is experiencing self-knowledge. I'm Brahman, is experiencing it. Far beyond body consciousness. For devotee also same thing happens. This is explained by Narada Maharshi in his Bhakti Sutras. There Narada says, when a person acquires this pure devotion, prema, not ordinary devotion which all of us have, not that. Shuddha Bhakti, Raga Bhakti. For such a person, yam labdva puman stabdho bhavati, matto bhavati, atma ramo bhavati, nakinchid vanchati, notsahi bhavati. All these are things that happen to a person who is experiencing the highest devotion. Either self-knowledge or highest devotion, both culminate in the same experience. Yam labdva, by gaining that highest devotion, puman, a person, human being, man or woman, stabdha bhavati, remains very quiet, not running about here and there, looking for this, looking for that. Ordinary person does that one. Restlessness. If I do this, I'll be happy. If I get rid of this, I'll be happy. No such thing. Matta bhavati becomes inebriated. Matta. Intoxicated with divine love. This is what Sri Ramakrishna was experiencing. Total intoxication in divine love. When Kalipada Ghosh went to see him for the first time, that story has come before. This Kalipada Ghosh was a friend of Girish Chandra Ghosh, and he was given to drinking and other bad habits, and he was neglecting his wife, not taking care of his family. So that story we have heard before, Kalipada Ghosh's story. His wife went to Kali temple one day to pray. Somebody told her there in Dakshineshwar there is a Kali, digressing a little bit. What happens when a person has pure devotion? That's what we are trying to understand. Matta bhavati, becomes intoxicated. How intoxicated? That's where we are trying to understand. So Kalipada Ghosha's wife went to Kali temple in Dakshineshwar to pray. Her husband was not coming home at night, or not taking care of her, spending all night outside. So she fed up. 12 years she had suffered like that. And then when she went to Kali temple, somebody there told her that there is a Mahatma here, Paramahamsa, you can go and pray to him. So the Kalipada Ghosha's wife went to Sri Ramakrishna ashram and prayed to him, my husband is like this, please help. And he said, I don't know anything, you go to that small building there, Nahabat, pointing to Nahabat where Holy Mother was staying. The lady there, she is the real holy person, you go to her, pray to her, she will help like this. So this poor lady went to Holy Mother. Holy Mother sent her back to Sri Ram. I'm a house of see, I'm just cooking, cleaning in a small house, small room. Vidhi Paramamsa, she sent her back to Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna sent her back to Holy Mother second time. Second time, Holy Mother sent her back to Sri Ramakrishna. Third time, Sri Ramakrishna sent her to Holy Mother. I'm not the real person, she is the go, she will bless you. So she went to her third time. Holy Mother made her sit down. She had just finished her morning puja. And then from the offerings that she had made during the puja, Holy Mother took a bilva leaf, wrote the name of God, gave to this Kalipada Ghosha's wife, and told her, keep it with you and repeat God's name every day. Slowly things will change. She consoled her. Holy Mother consoled her. So after this, some time, Kalipada Ghosh went, not knowing all of this. He went independently with Girish Chandra Ghosh to see that Paramahamsa. He did not know what was going to happen, whom he was seeing. He had no idea, probably. So when he entered, Kalipada Ghosh entered Sri Ramakrishna, he was studying it totally intoxicated, unaware of the outside world. Sri Ramakrishna, inebriated, matta bhavati, Narada Maharshi says. When a person has that pure devotion, highest kind of devotion, no awareness of the world, not awareness of the body, nothing. Totally absorbed in God consciousness. So that's what Sri Ramakrishna was experiencing. Then Kalipada Ghosh thought, oh, this person must have taken something very strong drink. That was all he was familiar with. So he's so intoxicated. He wanted to ask him, what kind of drink have you taken that makes you so intoxicated? Give something that to me. Is it British made? He asks like that one. That story, That is pure devotion. Can a pure devotion, just as self-knowledge, can make a person, raise a person above all body conscience, world, nothing, body, nothing exists, only God, only Atman. Yam labdva mat puman matta bhavati atmaramo bhavati. This continuation of verse 17 in chapter 3. We are studying that one. When a person gets pure devotion or self-knowledge, no work, no duties, nothing. Not even worry about taking care of the body. Just to atmaritare vasyad atmatriptascha manava, such a person. So we see that such a person in Sri Ramakrishna. When he was in Samadhi, no body consciousness. One day, Dr. Sarkar touched Sri Ramakrishna's eyes. No movement, no sensation. Totally absorbed in God consciousness. At that stage, what duties are there for him to do? He could not even carry out his priestly duties like worshipping. He could not cut flowers, he saw God everywhere, could not cut fruits, could not cut flowers from the plant. So he had to give up the job of the priest. All duties will drop away by themselves. Tasya karyam na vidyate. Matta bhavati atmana bhavati stabdha bhavati becomes very still. Notsahi bhavati. A devotee experiences these things. Utsaha means enthusiasm, being excited about running, other thing. Oh, if I go to that movie, it will be very nice. Everybody's watching that one. Excited about some sport event, some movie, some uh, Super Bowl or something. Excitement. Utsaha for worldly things. Person has no such excitement for worldly things. Absorbed totally in infinite joy. What sport event, what enjoyment can enhance his happiness? Infinitely happy within himself. So such a person, for such a person, there is no duty. Until the stage comes, self-knowledge or pure devotion, rest of us have to perform our duties and then say, I've done my best, O Lord. This is up to you, rest is in your hands. That is Saranagati. So we can see how great devotees surrender to the will of God completely. Sri Ramakrishna surrendered to the will of the Divine Mother. Whatever she does, wherever she keeps, in whatever condition, that is it. No complaining. Same thing about Hanuman. Total surrender to the will of Sri Rama. Serving Sri Rama was the only objective of his life. Same thing surrendered, total surrender on the part of Vibhishana to Sri Rama. Vibhishana was Ravana's brother, born in a demon family. But he was very different from Ravana. He was staying with Ravana, and when Sri Rama went to Lanka to fight with Ravana, then Vibhishana took refuge in him. He didn't want to fight with Rama on the side of, standing on the side of Ravana. He was a devotee. He was a devotee of Rama. So when Hanuman went there to look for Sita, Hanuman and Vibhishana met in Sri Lanka. Then they discovered each of them had devotion to Rama. They were Rama's devotees. They became very close. And then when after Hanuman met Vibhishana, Vibhishana became very bold. He told Ravana, so far he had kept quiet, whatever Ravana did. Now he told Ravana, so brother, what you are doing is not right. You have to return Sita. Rama got himself like this. Ravana didn't like it. Oh, so far you are staying with me, listening to me. Now you are trying to oppose what I am saying. Get out of my kingdom. Ravana said to Vibhishana. Vibhishana walked away to Sri Rama. Took surrender in him. Sri Rama protected him. And after Ravana was killed, Sri Rama installed Vibhishana as the king of Sri Lanka. So that surrender, total surrender to the will of Sri Rama. Like that, we see life of Prahlada, total surrender to the will of Lord Vishnu. Though his father, Hiranyakashipu, was torturing him, giving him a lot of trouble. But this boy was devoted to Vishnu. Every time he talked about Vishnu, his father would punish him. But nothing mattered. He took refuge in the Lord. we saved him. So total surrender means at that stage. That is the kind of Sharanagati that Bhagavan Sri Krishna is talking about in 1866. Sarva dharman parityajya. That we studied before. We cannot give up all dharma. Dharma, we have to keep the distinction and follow them. The distinction will go away. We rise above duality only at the highest stage. That's when Sri Ramakrishna said, "O Divine Mother, take your good and bad, give me pure devotion to me. Take your dharma, give me pure devotion to thee." Like this. So at that stage, a person rises above all duality, nirdvandva bhavati. Until then, as long as we are in the plane of duality, as long as we can distinguish good and bad, we have to follow dharma and give up adharma. But in the commentary, Shankara says dharma means karma. Niyata karma has to be done. That also will drop away at the highest stage when a person experiences pure devotion or self-knowledge. Until then, niyata karma has to be done. Nāmekam sharanam raja, 1866. Take refuge in me alone. There is no other refuge. The Lord is the only refuge. Other refuges, anya ashraya. Narada says, anya ashranam tyagaha. Narada Maharshi in his devotional sutra says, a devotee gives up all other ashrayas. Anya ashrayanam tyagaha. What are other ashrayas? Ordinary people take refuge in money, in wealth. If I am very rich, nobody can do anything to me. That protects me, like that. They take refuge in wealth. It does not. It helps us to some extent to fulfill our needs. But after that, money cannot save us. Money cannot save us from ill health and old age. We can buy medicines and medical care by a highest type, but still medicine, old age will come, disease will come, death will come. Money cannot save. Other refuges. Some people take refuge in the power. I'm such a president, nobody can harm me. This. All those ashrayas, they don't help us always. Only ashraya, refuge. Ashraya means refuge. Only refuge that is unfailing, eternal, unfailing is God. He is always there for us. But we have to take refuge in Him. So that is Mamekam Sharanam Raja. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami. Papa here means not only bad deeds people do, but all obstructions to realization He will remove. Sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami will free you from all obstructions to realization. Whatever is preventing us from realizing God, our impurities of the mind, kama, krodha, etc., other obstructions. Patanjali lists 13 obstructions to samadhi. All of those will go away by the grace of the Lord. If you pray to God, sincerity, have pure devotion, nothing will stop us from realizing Him. Master, don't grieve. Grief comes only when we don't know God. Grief comes because we lose something dear to us will be lost. Then we are sad. So what is dearer to us than God? He can never be lost. Property can be lost, fame can be lost, family can be lost, health can be lost. But God cannot be lost. He is our very self. He is within us all the time. So we can't lose Him. Unfailing support. So, Mamekam Sharanam Raja, Srupapebhyo Mokshayasami, Master, don't grieve. You can never lose God. No grief. So that is the sloka. There's a long commentary of Shankara on this sloka. 10 pages of closely printed Sanskrit. So the gist of it we have understood. Main points we have understood. Now we go to the next sloka. Afterwards, the remaining slokas, 12 or so remaining verses in the 18th chapter, they're all by way of conclusion. 18, 66, 67. Now the question of eligibility. Who can benefit from this teaching? Not only the 1866, but whole Bhagavad Gita. To whom this has to be given? What are the qualifications required to benefit from the study of the Bhagavad Gita? Everybody can listen to lectures on Gita, can read Gita, but to be really able to understand and benefit from the teachings of Lord Sri Krishna, you have to be fully prepared and qualified, like for anything else in this world. So verse number 67. Idaṃ te nātapaskāya nābhaktāya kadācana na cāśuśrūṣave vācyaṃ na chamām yo.abhyasūyati. Chapter 18, verse 67. Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Idaṃ. Idaṃ means this. This means all the teachings given before 1866 and all the earlier teachings, beginning from second chapter onwards. This whole knowledge, Yoga Shastra, Adhyatma Vidya, described in the 17 chapters. Idaṃ na vācyaṃ, should not be given, should not be taught. To whom? Nātapaskāya. See the word nātapaskāya, it's a double negative. Nātapaskāya. Na vācyaṃ. Should not be given to. Atapaska means, tapas means austerity. One who does not do any kind of austerity, for such a person, this knowledge should not be given. If it is given, it will be waste of time. He or she won't be able to absorb it unless preparation has been made of the mind by performing austerities. We'll understand what the austerities are. First, we'll study the shloka. Na nātapaskāya na vācyaṃ. Shouldn't be given to, shouldn't be taught to one who has not performed austerities. Second, nātapaskāya. No, nābhaktāya. Bhakti means devotion. Abhakta means one who does not have devotion. For abhaktāya, for a person who does not have devotion, na vācyaṃ idaṃ, this knowledge should not be imparted. It is not only useless, and it is also cannot be understood by the person. It's a useless effort. Na nābhaktāya na vācyaṃ. Then third one is na cāśuśrūṣave. Śuṣrūṣa means service, devoted service to a teacher or parent or any other being, animals also. Service. Cāśuśrūṣa means not serving. Cāśuśrūṣa means when a person does not have, has not done any service to other people, animals and plants, purely selfish person. For such a person, cāśuśrūṣave idaṃ na vācyaṃ should not be given. So three things are mentioned here as required qualifications for receiving this knowledge. Nābhaktāya, nātapaskāya, na cāśuśrūṣave. So let us understand what these three things are. Idaṃ te nātapaskāya nābhaktāya kadācana. Tapas means you have studied three kinds of tapas. Where? In chapter 17. Three shlokas are there, three verses are there. In chapter 17, verses 14, 15, 16. There the Lord has described three kinds of austerities. Austerities of the body, shariram tapaha, austerities of speech, vāṅmayam tapaha, austerities of the mind, manasam tapaha. Three instruments we have, trikarana: body, speech, and mind. Everything happens through these three instruments only. You have to keep these three instruments in good condition by performing austerities. Austerity means concentration of the energies of the sense organs and the mind. Lot of our energies are frittered away in useless worldly activities and in pursuing desires, etc. If we conserve all that energy, we have infinite energy within us. We only know we don't know how to harness that one. Rarely some people like Swami Vivekananda, they know how to harness the energy within them. Infinite energy is hidden with every human being. God is there. But an ordinary person does not know how to use it. We just very small amount of our energy we use. Scientists say that we use this very small amount part of our brain power is enormous. Very little of the brain power we have, potential, we use it in daily lives. So tapas means concentration of the energies, conservation of the energies, and directing it all to the highest goal. That is tapas, austerity. So three kinds of austerity we have seen. Bodily austerities in 1714. There Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, we have to remind ourselves of these three austerities. We have to do them every day. Then only Gita study will become useful, fruitful. Devad Viju Guru Prajna Pujanam Shaucha Marjavam 1714. Bodily austerities. Devad Viju Guru Prajna Pujanam Shaucha Marjavam Brahmacharyam Ahimsa Cha Shariram Tapavachate. Sharira means body. Bodily austerities. 5. And next sloka, 15. There Bhagavan describes speech austerities. Vāmayam tapaha. Anudvegakaram vācyaṃ satyam priya hitam chayat swadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva vāmayam tapa vichyate. 5 austerities of the speech that we have studied before. And then finally, next sloka, Bhagavan describes 5 austerities of the mind. Manasam tapaha. Manah prasadaha saumyatvam maunam atmavinigraha bhavasam shuddhihi iti etat tapo manasamachyate. Manasam tapo. Those things you have to do. Without doing those three kinds of austerities, not only Gita study, nothing will be useful. We can study any subject without concentrating our energies, conserving our energies of the body, mind, and speech. Nothing will be fruitful. Not even in the worldly life. See how much tapas people do for achieve other goals. For example, if you see a medical student preparing for his board examination, day and night they study, drinking coffee. Forget about parties and movies and everything. Keeping aside everything, that's tapas. They dedicate all their energy and time to achieve that one goal of passing the board exam, USMLE step 1, 2, 3, etc. That is one kind of tapas. Unless that is done, they cannot easily get the medical degree. So much hard work is involved in it. Tapas is involved in it. Same thing about people preparing for other professional exams, CPA, etc. I knew one person. He was a family man, 2 kids and wife, had a job also. He had appeared for the CPA. There are so many exams in CPA. We took an exam. And for 1 month, he took time off from everything. Every morning, he would come to the Vedanta Center, Vedanta Society, early in the morning, before breakfast. And he was given a room upstairs. You study there all day, only come for lunch, and as soon as I finished eating, he would go back to his study. 10 o'clock at night, he would go home and only to sleep. Like that, he did for 1 month. Then he passed the exam. That is tapas. Unless we work hard with concentration, conserving our energy, at that time we were not talking to people, no gossip, no conversation, nothing, no phone call, nothing. He told his wife, don't call me unless there is emergency. That is tapas. You see, scientists doing research. The example that comes to my mind is Madame Curie. Earlier, Those days, there were no big government grant for research. Big grants were not there. They had to find funds of their own, somehow scrape some money here and there. And there was no proper safety procedure working on radioactivities, discovering radium. But she had so much concentration, so much dedication to research, forgot everything else. Her own health she neglected. The power of concentration she had from childhood, Madame Curie. In his biography, we read, even as a child, her mind was concentrated. Whatever she was doing, she would put her 100% mind on that one. Other things would not disturb her at all. When she was a child, she was reading a book in her room one day. Some book, we don't know which book she was reading. And all the neighborhood kids assembled in her home to play, but she didn't go. She sat in a room and was busy studying some book. And neighborhood kids all made a lot of noise in the next room. Huge amount of noise they made, but she didn't hear anything. Didn't hear anything at all. Such was her concentration from childhood. That is tapas. Dedicated her whole life for research with very little funds, no facilities, no modern lab facilities, nothing. So that is research. That is tapas. Unless a person does tapas like that, a spiritual knowledge will not come. Three kinds of tapas we have to perform. That is, for a person who does not perform such tapas, has not succeeded in concentrating his or her mind, conserving energy by staying away from useless activities, for such a person who has not done tapas, this knowledge should not be given. Even if it is given, it will not be useful. Just like pouring water on a rock, it will go away. Nātapaskāya. Let me see. And then tapas comes again. Okay. Then second quality of a student of Gita is bhakti. Devotion must be there. If there is no devotion, it is not possible to not only benefit from Gita, now we can't benefit from anything unless we are devoted to some particular cause for which we are working. The devotion must be there. Here, devotion must be towards God, because in the Gita Shastra talks about the self, Atman, or God, and how to reach Yoga Shastra. Unless you are devoted to it 100%, will not benefit from the Gita study. Full devotion must be there. Nābhaktāya, a person who does not have devotion, this knowledge should not be imparted. Then, the next one. Bhakti yoga is meant for people who have at least one little ounce of love in their hearts. One day, a young man went to Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna asked him, "Do you love anybody? Your father, mother, sister, any person?" That person said, "I don't love anybody." That young man said. Sri Ramakrishna said, "What a dry fellow you are. Love somebody in the world. That is very necessary. Even love well your wife or your husband. That is a wonderful thing. We should have some love in our heart. We can expand it later on. We have to know we have no capital at all. Then what will come out of us?" So Sri Krishna says, a little love of God who dwells in the heart of all is needed. Bhakti is needed. We can make it wider and wider later on. If we have some bhakti love to start with in our heart, we can purify it, direct it towards God, and strengthen it and deepen it. So love must be there. Bhakti must be there. Seed of bhakti must be there. It is there in all hearts, but people don't cultivate it all the time. Nābhaktāya. Then third quality is nātapaskāya nābhaktāya na cāśuśrūṣave. Śuśrūṣa means service. Tapas. Service to some other being. other person who is in need of service, animal or plant or society or country is needed. Without service, life is totally selfish, narrow, only me and myself, not thinking about anybody else. That's for such a person, not only Gita study, nothing will be possible. You must expand our heart. This is the main teaching of Swami Vivekananda. Service. What kind of worship are you doing? Go and serve the people in need next to you, animals and plants. People who are in need of, who are in distress, serve them. Without doing that one, if you came simply studying scriptures and going to temple, doing rituals will be of no use. Swamiji said, Swami Vivekananda wrote a poem called The Living God. Swami Atmagyanji gave a Sunday lecture on that one, The Living God. There Swamiji says, what kind of God are you worshipping? Idols in the temple? Worship the God in the person next to you who needs service. The living, vibrant presence of God, neglecting the presence of God in the person next to you who needs service. What other worship are you doing? He says. So, cāśuśrūṣave means some service has to be done. Importance of service in spiritual life. We see in the 4th chapter of the Gita, I think it's verse 34. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says you have to serve the teacher. When you see a teacher, you have to do 3 things. Tadviddi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninastattvadarshinaha. When you see a teacher, we have to know, ascertain the truth, acquire knowledge of the self from the Tad means Brahman. With the know the ultimate truth, reality. How? By doing 3 things. Pranipatena. Pranipata means total Sashtanga Namaskar, 8 parts of the body touching the floor. What does it indicate? Surrender and humility. So that is to be done. Pranipatena. Second thing is pariprashnena. Pariprashna means inquiring into all aspects of a subject from every angle, from every perspective. Pariprashna does not mean simply asking some question just to ask some question. One must have studied it, must be serious, must be interested in ascertaining the truth from every angle. Pariprashna. So a subject has to be studied not only superficial, but from every perspective thoroughly. That's pariprashna, inquiry into the nature of reality. Third thing Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, a student must serve the teacher. Sevaya. Seva means service. Yeah. A student must serve a teacher. Yes, son or daughter must serve the parents and other elders, and everybody should serve the Lord God. Seva. All our work we do should be in a seva, as offering. So we see how by service alone, some disciples got self-knowledge, devotion, everything. The best example is the example of Totakacharya. Sri Shankaracharya is one of the 4 main disciples. Unlike other disciples, Padmapada and Sureshwara were great scholars in their own right. Totaka did not have any tendency for scholarship. He was an ordinary person. He became a disciple of Shankara, and he was not good in studies or scholarship, but he served Shankara with great devotion. Whatever Shankara wanted, he could anticipate before it was expressed, and he could serve that one. So one day what happened was, Totaka had gone to do some errand for his teacher, and the class time began. Time for the class to begin, all the other students had assembled. Padmapada and Sureshwara and others were there in the class. Shankara was not starting the class because Totaka had not yet come. He was waiting for him patiently. Other students were impatient. They said to Shankara, sir, why wait for Totaka? He does not have any ability in scholarship anyhow. He can join when he comes. Why not we start the class? Shankara didn't reply, simply kept quiet. After some time, Totaka came running. He had gone for some errand to wash clothes or something. Got a little bit delayed. He came running and stood there with embarrassment because he was late. And Shankara simply looked at him, and in his mind he blessed him. No words were spoken. Sankalpamatrena siddhir bhavishyati. By a thought, the teacher can impart everything to the student. Only by a thought. That's what Shankara did. And momentarily, Totaka had never shown any interest or ability in the scholarship. Extemporaneously, right then and there, composed a beautiful hymn containing 8 stanzas, Ashtakam, in a beautiful Totaka meter, and then chanted it extemporaneously. Other students were all astounded from where this man got this kind of scholarship. God's grace. Sevaya, by serving the teacher, a student can get everything, knowledge and devotion, everything one can get. So a person who does not do service, cāśuśrūṣave, for such a person, the Gita Shastra should not be taught. Even if it is taught, it will not be useful. Another example of service is Latu Maharaj, Sri Ramakrishna. Latu Maharaj had no inclination for scholarship. In spite of trying hard for several days, Sri Ramakrishna could not teach him on the beginning letters of the alphabet. So he gave up. He said, "This is not for you." The Totaka could not remain illiterate all his life. But he got all knowledge and devotion by the grace of the teacher. He served him day and night. The total dedication, devotion. That's the power of service. If a person does service with devotion, such a person is highly qualified, will benefit from the study of the Gita. Another example of Padmapada, Shankara's other disciple. Padmapada was also a great student, and he had gone somewhere to do some errand, and he wanted to attend the class. The class time had approached, so he started running to attend the class on time, not to be late. When he was running, there was a river or something. He didn't even notice. He kept on running as if it is land. The devotion was so great that wherever he kept his foot, one lotus appeared and supported his foot. He did not know he was walking on water. He ran on water. That's why his name became Padmapada. Padma means lotus. So such devoted students have been there. By sevaya, one who does not perform seva, for such a person, this Gita Shastra should not be taught. Even if it is taught, it will not be useful. Another example of the importance of seva, cāśuśrūṣave. We are studying cāśuśrūṣave. cāśuśrūṣave vācyaṃ. That's what we are studying. In the Mahabharata, I am reading from Swami Ranganathananda's commentary on this verse. In the conversation between Tuladhara and Jajali, we have one of the most beautiful episodes of the great epic Mahabharata. Jajali was a Brahmana, ascetic. Tuladhara was a businessman. And this Tuladhara is advising Jajali on what is spiritual life. Okay. Then he says, the Tuladhara asked the Jajali, who is the ascetic Brahmana, what are these rituals and ceremonies that you want to do? What is there even in that tapasya that you do standing on one leg? The main thing is to try to serve people with your body, mind, and spirit. The Jajali was doing all kinds of austerities, day and night, doing japa and standing in water, etc. Tuladhara was a businessman. He told this Brahmana, what kind of tapas are you doing? What will this bring to you? Then he gives advice. What is there even in the tapasya that you do standing on one leg? The main thing is to try to serve people with your body, mind, and spirit. Tuladhara, a businessman, advises the Brahmana who doing asceticism, austerities, and his advice was to serve people. What is the purpose of doing austerity for yourself? Serve other people. Through service, you can get devotion, knowledge, everything. He said. The main thing is to serve people with your body, mind, and spirit. Make others happier and happier. That is real dharma. Tuladhara's advice to Jajali. The sloka is very famous. Sarvesham yash Suran nityam sarvesham yasuran nityam sarvesham tahite rataha karmana manasa vacha sadharmam veda jajale. O Jajali, Tuladara says to Jajali, that person understands what is dharma. Who is that person? Sarvesham yas suran nityam. Who is the friend of all beings always. Sarvesham chahitartha, ever engaged in the welfare of and happiness of all people through action, through thought, and through speech. That means a person who dedicates his body, speech, and mind to serve other people who are in need of service. Such a person can understand what is dharma, what is truth. Otherwise, simply doing meaningless austerities, there's not much use. Krodara says to Jajali, if a single word can bring good to somebody, why not say that? If just a little service makes someone happy, why not do that? This person has understood the truth. That is importance of service, Shustrusha. Here, coming back to 1867, Bhagavan Shri Krishna said, this Gita Shastra should not be taught to a person who does not do any kind of service to other beings. Other people who are in need of service, older people, sick people, poor people, and animals and plants who have to be served. Then only a person will be ready, mind will be ready for receiving, benefiting from knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita and Vedanta. Service makes a person unselfish. What is the purpose of service? To become unselfish. The more unselfish a person becomes, the closer a person goes towards God. If a person becomes totally unselfish, then he will become one with God. No self at all. The individual I is totally absent, merged in the cosmic I in God. Only God remains. The bhakta merges in God. That's power of service. So service is highly extolled as a spiritual discipline in our scriptures. By service, cāśuśrūṣave means serving the teacher, thinking God and serving the parents, Matadeva, Pitradeva, Acharya Deva Bhava, serving the Atithis, guest Atithi Deva Bhava, Taittiriya Upanishad, serving any other being, animal or plant or anything or nature where service is needed. That qualifies a person to benefit from the study of Bhagavad Gita and other Vedanta scriptures. Without that service element in our life, totally leading a selfish life, a person cannot benefit from any study. Not only Vedanta, cannot benefit from anything. So that is Shustrusha. So three things we have seen. Idaṃ te nātapaskāya. Atapaskāya means a person does not do any kind of austerities, the kinds of austerities. Nābhaktāya, a person does not have devotion to God. cāśuśrūṣave, person who does not do any kind of service to other beings. For such a person, idaṃ vācyaṃ should not be given. This Gita Shastra should not be. These are qualifications that makes a person eligible to study the Bhagavad Gita, benefit from the study of the Gita. Fourth quality is yo.abhyasūyati. You are doing 67. Abhyasūyati means a person who blames God needlessly. Yes, let me see here. What is this? Abhyasūyati. Abhyasūyati here in the commentary. Atma preferensadi dosha jyaropena ishwaratvam mama ajanan nasakate asau api ayogyaha. A person who blames God as being very egotistic and self-centered, because many places in the Gita, Sri Krishna says, worship me. Mamekam saranam raja, worship me alone. Ordinary people, egotistic people say the same thing. Serve me alone, I am the greatest. People also say that one. But Lord saying, serve me alone, an ordinary selfish person saying, I am the important person, serve me alone, This world of difference. So we should not ascribe human weaknesses to God and say God is very self-centered. He is always asking me to be devoted to Him. Manmana bhava, madbhakto bhava, madhyaji mam namaskuru, bow down to me, the Lord says earlier. So a person who does not understand, they may blame God for being very selfish and egotistic. For such a person who speaks ill of God, nātapaskāya, yo.abhyasūyati, who speaks ill of God, idaṃ should not be Gita, should not be taught, he won't be able to grasp it, understand it. Mind is not prepared. God is the ultimate, only reality. There are no other things at all. Only He is there. So whom else do we serve? We should serve the Lord. So that kind of speaking ill of God is called abhyasūya. Yatamam yo.abhyasūyati. A person who speaks ill of God has no respect for the word of God, no respect for scriptural teaching, study. For such a person, if Gita is taught, it will be waste of time. So these are all the qualifications. 4 qualifications are required to benefit from the study of the Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures. They are tapas. Austerity has to be done. Mind has to be prepared. Energy has to be conserved by doing austerities of 3 kinds. Bhakti must be there. Devotion is not there, then we will not be benefit from study of any scripture. And cāśuśrūṣave, seva must be done. Totally selfish person does not serve anybody, cannot benefit from the study of the Gita or any other scripture. And then a person who blames God, talks ill of God, does not understand ultimate reality God. For such a person who has no faith, the Gita study should not be done. He will not, he or she will not benefit from such a study. These are the qualifications for Gita studies. 1867. A few more remaining verses are there. We'll complete them next time. So let us stop here and I shall say the closing prayer. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Om, may all be happy, may all be free from sufferings, ill health, and other sufferings in life. May all realize and practice what is noble, dharmic, and auspicious. May no one be subject to any kind of misery or suffering. Om, peace. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. And may there be peace everywhere in nature. Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you very much. All of you stay well. And God willing, we shall see you next week. Kamalamma, thank you very much. M. Pratibda, all of you, thank you. Namaskar. Only one shloka we need today.